We broke up but still live together. Should I spend Christmas with his family? I'm 24 years old, and my ex is 31. We ended our 3-year relationship just a few weeks ago. Despite the breakup, we're still living together, and no one knows we've separated, not even his 12-year-old daughter. When I met him 3 years ago, I was in a completely different phase of my life. I had just graduated from college and was navigating my first real job. He, on the other hand, was stable, mature, and everything I thought I wanted in a partner. He had been through life's ups and downs, and his calm demeanor and life experience drew me to him immediately. From the beginning, our relationship felt easy. We bonded over shared interests like climbing, cooking, and investing hours binge-watching ancient sitcoms. He was the primary person to really push me out of my comfort zone, encouraging me to undertake modern things, like running my to begin with 5K and cooking dishes I'd never endeavored sometime recently. And after that there was his girl. She was 9 when we to begin with met, and I was startled of exceeding boundaries. But she invited me with open arms. Over the long time, we created our small traditions, Friday night pizza, Saturday morning craftsmanship ventures, and marathon recreations of Uno that she continuously by one means or another overseen to win. We celebrated breakthroughs together, like her to begin with center school grant and my to begin with enormous advancement. The three of us felt like a small family, indeed in spite of the fact that I was intensely mindful that I wasn't her mother. I never attempted to be, but I cherished her in my claim way. But no relationship is idealized. As time went on, our contrasts begun to appear. He was set in his schedules, and as much as I appreciated his solidness, I some of the time felt like my development was hindered. I needed to travel, investigate in used cities, and take more dangers. He, justifiably, needed security in an unsurprising life for his girl. It wasn't a sudden aftermath, it was a slow float. We halted having the long, profound discussions we utilized to have and started squabbling over small things, like whose turn it was to empty the dishwasher or what to watch on Netflix. By the time we broke up, it wasn't a sensational occasion. We sat down and had a calm, legitimate discussion. We both conceded that whereas we still cared approximately each other profoundly, we were on diverse ways. We finished things on okay terms, no shouting, no dramatization. But that doesn't cruel, it was simple. Monetarily, not one or the other of us might manage to move out, and with as it were a couple of months cleared out on our lease, we chosen it made sense to stay it out. We moreover concurred to keep the breakup private until after the occasions. Not one or the other of us needed to disturb his daughter's life right sometime recently Christmas, and in all honesty, I didn't need to bargain with the questions from his family or my companion's fare however. Now, with Christmas just days away, I'm stuck in a tricky situation. His family has always been wonderful to me, treating me like one of their own from the very beginning. His mom would call me her favorite daughter-in-law, even though we were never married. His sister and I often exchanged text messages about recipes and funny memes. I know they've gotten me blessings, and I'd adore to spend the day with them. But something almost being there feels off base. It's like I'd be lying to them, imagining everything is fine when it's not. I brought it up with my ex, trusting for a little clarity. His reaction was impassive. Whatever makes you comfortable. But that didn't offer assistance much. On the one hand, I do not need to spend Christmas alone. My family lives distant absent, and with my current budgetary circumstance, flying out to see them isn't a choice. On the other hand, sitting around the tree with his family, knowing we've broken up, feels unscrupulous. We've both concurred to break the news after the occasions. I figure we're attempting to protect the peace for his girl and his family amid what's gathered to be a blissful time. But this limbo is debilitating. I still care almost him, and I need the leading for him and his girl. But investing Christmas together, indeed within the same house, feels like strolling a tightrope. Do I remain domestic alone, attempting to appreciate a calm occasion? Or do I go and attempt to put on a courageous confront, knowing the truth will come out inevitably? For now, I'm just taking it one day at a time, hoping the holidays will bring some clarity. Whatever happens, I know this Christmas will be one I'll never forget. Story 2. Not being grateful for my Christmas and birthday gifts. I'm a 45-year-old man who has always found joy in buying gifts for others. There's something magical about the process, thinking about what someone might truly love, hunting down that perfect item, and carefully wrapping it in festive paper. It's not just about the gift itself but the thought and effort behind it. Over the years, I've prided myself on my knack for finding unique, thoughtful presents for everyone in my family. And by family, I mean everyone: parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, even my cousins' kids. But somewhere along the way, I began to feel like the thoughtfulness wasn't mutual. Being single, I started noticing that the gifts I received were, let's say, increasingly, uninspired. It seemed like everyone else in the family benefited from having partners who could provide personalized gift ideas. Without a spouse or significant other to consult about what I might like, my gifts became painfully generic. It wasn't fair one or two a long time of these sorts of presents, it was every Christmas and birthday, year after year. One or two of a long time prior, I decided to form a altar. I reported that I'd now not be doing endowments for grown-ups within the family and would center exclusively on presents for the kids and my guardians. It felt mixed since I truly cherished the custom of giving, but it was moreover liberating. No more unpleasant shopping trips for expanded family or the perpetual parade of undesirable presents I had to bargain with. To my shock, my family appeared affirm with the decision, at slightest, at first. But as time went on, something interesting happened. Family individuals started to provide me just a small something besides. It begun small, a box of chocolates here, a occasion mug there, but rapidly heightened. Final year, I unwrapped a third bread cut. For the record, I as of now had 2 flawlessly great ones. I've attempted to address this with my mother, clarifying that whereas I get it they're attempting to be thoughtful, the leading blessing they might provide me is to regard my wishes. Her reaction? A contemptuous, "There's nothing you'll do in case people want to deliver you something." It feels like a no-win circumstance. I do not want to appear selfish, but at the same time, I can't keep imagining to be excited with blessings I not one or the other require nor need. The entirety point of my no-gift arrangement was to streamline things and maintain a strategic distance from squander, but instead, I'm back to square one. To a few, this might appear minor, but for me, it's approximately more than fair. The endowments. It's about feeling listened and regarded. When I say I do not need presents, it's not since I'm attempting to be difficult, it's since I truly esteem encounters and associations over fabric things. Unexpectedly, the exceptionally individuals attempting to appear me they care through endowments are doing so in a way that overlooks my wishes. And truly, it's beginning to feel more like a chore than a celebration. I've been wrestling with this address. Am I the twitch for not being thankful? Ought to I fair acknowledge the endowments with a grin and discreetly give or re-gift them afterward? Or is it sensible to anticipate my family to regard my boundaries, indeed in case they do not get at them? At the end of the day, I don't want to ruin the spirit of the holidays. But I also don't want to keep sacrificing my peace of mind for the sake of avoiding an awkward conversation. Story 3. Not wanting my gaslighting, fridge locking, narcissist uncle to wreck Christmas. Again. Growing up, my Uncle John lived with us and treated me like absolute garbage. He called me horrible names, by asterisk asterisk asterisk, WH asterisk asterisk asterisk, and even, "See you next Tuesday," when I was just 14 years old. To make things worse, this happened while I was babysitting his son for free every day after school. His son, now 14, doesn't speak to him at all but stays close with me. We hang out, play games together, and have built a bond that honestly feels like redemption after all the chaos Uncle John caused. But back at that point, it was a bad dream. He faulted me for his separation. Yes, me, a 14-year-old kid who had nothing to do with his marriage falling separated. He indeed latched the cooler in our house, since I once utilized a sprinkle of drain without inquiring. After locking it up, he'd appear it off to guests, egotistically telling them, if I didn't do this, my fat niece would eat us out of house and home. When he at long last moved out, I thought the bad dream was over. But I was off base. At 19, out of the blue, he began calling me late at night, once at midnight on a work night, demanding the number 4 La Coca. As, on the off chance that I'd know a sedate merchant. Did I tell my mother and his pardon? He said it was a test. A test for what? My persistence. My rational soundness. He never apologized, and truly, this was fair one occurrence in a long list of his silly tricks. I may go on for hours. There's so much I've persevered since of this man, and he's never once taken responsibility. When I was 29. I hadn't talked to him for a long time after he moved out, but things took a sharp turn at a family grill almost a year back. I appeared up prepared to have a great time and catch up with everybody. In any case, at a few points, I have chosen to require a break from the chaos and work on a few drafts for my inside plan work. I found a calm corner to set up my portable workstation, arranging to remain out of everyone's way. This basic act rankled Uncle John. He raged into the room, as of now a bottle of bourbon profound, and began shouting almost how my work was progressing to wake up the full house. Intellect you, I wasn't making any noise, I was truly writing. In the interim, he and the rest of the team were giggling and yelling within the carport while cleaning off bottle after bottle. I attempted to remain calm, but his inebriated tirade was as well. I pardoned myself and went to bed, but not sometime recently wrapping up my work in a total hush, fair to demonstrate a point. The following morning, I caught him trash-talking me to my sister. He called me names, denounced me for being incapable of handling my liquor, unexpected, given his state, and made fun of my work. At that point, I had had sufficient. I gone up against him, telling him it was unsatisfactory to talk almost me that way. He flew off the handle, charged me of being insolent, and in the long run kicked me out of the house. I cleared out, not fair irate but depleted by his steady poisonous quality. That was the final time I saw or talked to him, until presently. Present day. This year, my mother and my other uncle, Carter, chosen that Uncle John ought to connect us for Christmas. They cited his well-being battles and endeavors to stop drinking as reasons to welcome him, encouraging everybody to be patient with him. Once more, everybody was twisting over in reverse to ensure his delicate inner self. I inquired my mother to content him some time recently the occasion, respectfully asking that he at slightest attempt to be kind or keep his discourteous comments to himself. Rather than concurring to this fundamental affability, he cleared out me a voicemail. In it, he called me a 30-year-old baby, taunted me and my mother, and utilized slurs to offend us. Not knowing almost the voicemail yet, I chosen to undertake clearing the discuss with him specifically. I called him and calmly told him, there are things you've said to me that I still carry with me, and it hurts. His reaction? He quickly propelled into a tirade approximately how I was a spoiled 14-year-old and made up foolish accusations, like claiming I harmed drywall and cut electrical strings. None of this ever happened, but he was clearly modifying history to suit his story. I attempted to clarify how his words had harmed me over a long time, trusting for a few similarity of an statement of regret. In step, he hit me with the extreme non-apology. I'm too bad you're feeling that way and think you're the victim. He at that point went on to call me rationally sick and claimed, it takes two to tango. When I inquired in the event that I might talk without intrusion, he hung up on me. To form things more awful, I afterward found out he had recorded our call without my information and sent it to other family individuals. The great news? His arranged reverse discharges. Rather than turning them against me, they called to apologize for what I'd been through, recognizing how poisonous he's been my whole life. Now, I feel like I'm being forced to sacrifice my peace for someone who has never once taken responsibility for his actions. Everyone keeps prioritizing his feelings, as if his health struggles erase all the pain he's caused. I don't see why I should have to tiptoe around him just because he's trying, and failing, to change. Story 4. Bailing on the annual Christmas party. I'm a 27-year-old man who has been living in LA, about 4 years away from my mom and sister. I work as a software engineer, and while I'm generally happy with where I am in life, the last couple of weeks have been rough. My girlfriend of 4 years and I broke up recently, just 2 weeks ago, in fact, and I'm still trying to pick up the pieces. My family lives in a cozy little town where I grew up. We've always been a tight-knit unit, just the three of us since my dad passed away when I was a teenager. My mom is the glue that holds everything together. She's warm, loving, and a bit traditional. My sister, who's 24, is one of my best friends, though we're at very different places in our lives. She's finishing her graduate studies in Bachelor of Computer Application and lives with my mom to save money while she works part-time. Despite the distance, I try to visit them every year or two a year. Still, life gets within the way, and the visits feel as well few and far away between. I've continuously cherished going domestic, in spite of the fact that there's something around the scent of my mom's cooking, the worn-out love seat where we sit in conversation for hours, and the basic consolation of being encompassed by individuals who know me superior to anybody else. Each Christmas Eve, there's a convention in our family. We go to an extravagant party facilitated by one of my mom's most seasoned companions. It's been a convention for as long as I can keep in mind. My sister and I developed up nearby their kids, and back at that point, it was something we really looked forward to. The enhancements, the happy environment, and the unending stream of nourishment and drinks made it mysterious when we were more youthful. But as we've developed more seasoned, things have changed. We do not see those family companions but for this one night a year. The kids we once played with are presently removed associates at best. Over the past a long time, I've taken note myself floating in courage into the foundation at these get-togethers. I attempt to blend, but the discussions are shallow and dreary. I continuously discover myself replying the same questions. Where are you living now? What do you do for work? How's your girlfriend? And this year, that last question will be the hardest. My girlfriend cheated on me, and I'm not prepared to conversation approximately it, not with family companions I scarcely know, and certainly not with individuals who as it were seen me as a talking point for little conversation. This year, I have chosen I'd had sufficient. I told my mother and sister I wasn't attending the party. I tried to be tactful, explaining that I wasn't within the right headspace which I required a few time to decompress. But they didn't take it well. Both of them, independently, made their case for why I ought to go. My mother said, Christmas Eve is around family, and it's critical for us to be together. My sister reverberated her estimation, including that this party was a way for me to preserve associations with individuals who've known me for a long time. My mother also emphasized that everybody at the party would adore to listen about my recent accomplishments in flight school. She said, they're so proud of you, and they'd love to see you. It's not close to the party, it's around celebrating as a family. Their contentions cleared out me feeling blameworthy. They've continuously been steady of me, and I get it where they're coming from. But I moreover couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't approximately investing time with me. Let me be legitimate. Attending to this party doesn't feel like family time. My mother and sister will be active chatting with their companions, clearing out me to battle for myself in unbalanced little conversation. I've done this dance before, standing alone by the nibble table, tasting on punch, and imagining being inquisitive about the discussions happening around me. On the off chance that they truly needed to spend time together, why not arrange something for the three of us? A calm supper at domestic, a Christmas motion picture marathon, or indeed heating treats would cruel more to me than standing in a swarmed house with individuals I scarcely know any longer. This year, particularly, I'm fair not up for it. The breakup has cleared out, me crude and defenseless. The thought of putting on a fake grin and persevering perpetual questions almost my individual life is debilitating. In spite of my firm stance, my mother and sister didn't back down. They kept bringing it up over supper, amid phone calls, and indeed in passing discussions. Each time, their guilt-tripping felt more pointed. "You're being selfish," my sister said at one point. "Mom's truly looking forward to this." I have begun to question myself. Was I being unreasonable? Should I just suck it up for a couple of hours and go to the party? After all, Christmas is about family, right? But at that point, I recalled something imperative. I'm allowed to set boundaries. Fair, since something could be a convention doesn't cruel, I'm committed to take part, particularly on the off chance that it's negative to my mental well-being. The night sometime recently, Christmas Eve, I sat down with my mother and sister to conversation it out. I clarified how I was feeling, about the breakup, the party, and the weight they were putting on me. I told them that I adore them and need to spend time with them, but I moreover got to prioritize my well-being. To my astonish, they tuned in. My mother conceded that she hadn't considered how difficult this year may be for me. My sister apologized for pushing me and said she fair needed us all to have a great time together. We have chosen on a compromise. I wouldn't go to the party, but we'd spend Christmas Eve morning doing something uncommon together as a family. We arranged to form an enormous breakfast, trade blessings early, and perhaps indeed take a walk around the neighborhood to look at the Christmas lights. On Christmas Eve, I remained domestic whereas they went to the party. I missed them, but I moreover felt a sense of alleviation. For the primary time in a long time, I went through the evening doing precisely what I wanted, curled up on the lounge chair with a great book, a few hot cocoa, and the calm consolation of my possessed company. When they came domestic, my mother gave me an embrace and said, "We missed you, but I'm happy you did what you needed to do." My sister nodded, and for the primary time in weeks, I felt like they genuinely understood where I was coming from. Within the end, I wasn't the jerk for skipping the party. I was just an individual setting boundaries and selecting self-care. And truly, it was the leading choice I might have made.